Once students are in your SWS class, they have an opportunity to learn from a successful writer in a specific field. This expert, you, are a model for how one could hope to engage with the dialogue and research of your field. Your students get to experience the first steps towards entering your discipline's conversations by the kinds of assignments you provide in writing and reading. You therefore have two goals: to teach what good writing looks like in your field, and to teach the habits of good writers. But herein lies a common problem regarding the teaching of writing. Too often are students denied the opportunity to pull back the curtain on the good writing products they come into contact with in the classroom. Most of what students read for school are final drafts. They're handling a product, writing crafted by an expert behind the curtain of publication. Now, the task of writing is often considered the ability to produce something according to the guidelines of a field. But writers are more likely to produce something successful by thinking about writing as a process rather than as the product. Since the 1970s, research into the writing process has flourished. What we now know can help our students improve. You may have been taught that the academic writing process has several stages: researching, pre-writing, drafting, revising, and editing. Knowing these stages and thinking about writing in this way helps you to discuss with your students the variety of actions required to produce an effective text. There are many personal ways in which writers work to achieve good writing. Anne Lamott, author of Bird by Bird, discusses the fact that most writers get to good writing by getting that shitty first draft down on the page, implying that good writing happens when eliminating bad ideas first. Ernest Hemingway famously said, "Write drunk, edit sober," implying that writing before editing is often about just getting your ideas down on a page without a critic or a judge. But students don't often see these rough drafts of pieces they read. They don't ever see the copious notes written by that peer review panel or the red pen on Shakespeare. All this work was done behind that curtain of formalized publication. The assumption made by many novice writers, therefore, is that good writing just sort of happens. Certainly, good writing is sometimes easier to come by for some people, but learning how to get to good writing by knowing the best habits of the writing process helps. This writing process includes the activities of writing: brainstorming, research, peer review, editing, and the strategies or mindsets helpful in completing each activity. Each writer is different, but these are the skills most useful to any writer if the goal is learning how to actively produce good writing. Think about any skill with a performance component. Take a musical instrument, for example. Watching someone like Yo-Yo Ma play the cello is to feel awed by talent, passion for his skill, and attention to perfection. He's truly a master of his craft. But what if we knew him when he first learned to play? What if we, as his audience, witnessed the wrong notes, the music theory lessons, and the hundreds of runs and scales? What if instead of only knowing him as the expert cellist he is, we were privy to his process of playing the cello in addition to his performance? This is how we should think about teaching writing to our students. If the final performance of good writing is the goal, then it is the smallest component in the entire process of writing. Many successful writers are individuals who can look at a blank page and feel comfortable just engaging with it, embracing imperfections, half ideas, questions for oneself, or the possibility of changing one's mind or challenging one's assumptions. The required 4 hours of instruction in your SWS class, therefore, needs a clear understanding of the steps involved, even if these steps are materials to be collected and single decisions to be made, so as to help student writers feel more comfortable managing that blank page. Researching, one step for example, is a complicated task and can be systematized or chaotic. By having an understanding of search terms, qualities of credible publications, comfort with note-taking, summarizing, organizing materials, and citing sources, students are better equipped to approach their own research. Pre-writing and drafting are often stages of overcoming intimidation and fear of perfection. Sometimes pre-writing is outlining, making lists and word maps, and drafting can be free writing or starting halfway through the paper rather than with the beginning. Sometimes this process might involve conversations with peers. Your in-class discussions or online discussion board conversations might help students to develop their ideas, analyzing and synthesizing sources, developing curiosity and an understanding of the questions that one asks in your field. These questions could, and probably should, lead one back into the research phase. And this is one of the discoveries that close observation of the writing process has revealed. It's not linear. It's a falsehood to believe that one should neatly progress through the stages of the writing process. In fact, think about your own writing process. Is it linear? Is it clean and orderly, or random and frantic? Before you try to coach students in the discovery and use of their own writing process, it is best to become aware of your process first. How do you come up with an idea? And how do you conduct research? How many people do you talk to, or where do you go for advice? And how do you start all over if you change your mind? Sharing your answers to these questions with your class is a great opportunity to pull back the curtain on your own success. You've taken classes and had projects that have required harder and more tasking writing expectations than what your students are experiencing now, and your vulnerability and honesty about how you handle your own writing gives them the opportunity to gain perspective on the diversity of writing processes among successful writers. In other words, they can see that good writing isn't magic, and it certainly isn't done through one method only. Some of your students are already successful writers. But when your students admit to struggling with writing or insecurities with their own abilities, equipping them with the steps of the writing process will make writing less burdensome. By teaching your students the helpful strategies or mindsets relevant to the writing in your field, you'll help make the writing process more approachable, manageable, and productive. For more information about how to design great assignments with the writing process in mind, join us for Designing Effective Assignments, a video in this complete collection.